It's a time of year when drivers need to be especially aware of deer. AAA Mid-Atlantic is warning motorists to be alert to amorous deer whose mating season has begun and will continue through December. Deer vehicle crashes can be costly and deadly. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety estimates that approximately 1.5 million deer motor vehicle crashes occur each year on U.S. roads, resulting in at least $1 billion in vehicle damage. And joining us now to discuss avoiding collisions with deer is Martha Mead of AAA Mid-Atlantic. Martha, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, Martha, is this time of year more dangerous for deer collisions?
Well, it certainly is. As you said, we are in the middle of deer mating season. It starts in October and goes through the month of December. Deer are on the prowl not only for food and shelter, but their one goal is to find a mate, and they can roam many, many miles to do so. That puts them on the side of our roadways, puts them in places we are not accustomed to seeing them.
Now, do deer tend to travel during certain times of the day?
Well, that's what's most dangerous, and a very important message from AAA for motorists, because when we are on the way to work in the early morning and on the way home from work in the late afternoon, that is when the deer are most likely to also be on the prowl for that ever-elusive mate.
Now, you've got some very interesting tips that are a little involved, but people should definitely hear them. Why don't you begin to highlight a few of them for us?
Well, the one that is most surprising to people, of course we want to slow down and be alert, be on the lookout for deer, but if you find that a crash with a deer is absolutely unavoidable, you want to slow your car as much as you possibly can. However, just before impact, you want to take your foot off of the brake. That's going to raise the front of your car ever so slightly and increase the chance that the deer will go under your car rather than come crashing through your windshield. Obviously, a much more dangerous situation.
It certainly is, and I can recall here a few years ago a case where an individual had the deer come through the windshield and it killed him.
Well, and the results can be absolutely tragic.
Okay. Another tip has to do with how you try to alert the deer, and this is something else that people, again, may not have heard of, like, what do you do to warn the deer that someone's coming?
Well, that's exactly right. People see deer standing on the roadside, and, of course, they're very beautiful animals, but we must remember, especially now during mating season, they may be frightened. They may suddenly run across the roadway. So you want to slow down, and you want to use your horn to scare the deer away. Never shine or flash your lights at the deer or in the deer's eyes. That's going to cause them to fixate on your vehicle and possibly freeze. Okay to use your high beams so that you can see, but do not flash your lights at that deer.
So instead of, like, and I think I've probably done this, where you're seeing and you'll flash your high beams to try to alert them, but that's wrong, really.
That's exactly right. You want to give a nice solid sound of the horn. Is a much better option for you.
Another thing about deer traveling in groups.
Deer do travel in groups. So if you see one on the side of the roadway, you are likely to see another, but they may not be in your field of view at that time. So give that and make that an alert for you. And remember, deers are also creatures of habit. They generally will go back to the same area. So if you see a deer one day at a particular stretch of roadway, you're likely to see a deer another day at that same place.
Not much time left, but never swerve.
You do not want to swerve. You want to remain in control of your motor vehicle at all times. You want to avoid swerving into another vehicle or, heaven forbid, a tree. So do the best you can to control your vehicle and minimize any impact.
All right, very good. Some very helpful and interesting tips. Martha Mead of AAA, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.